I was raised to love God, but never taught how to love myself. And maybe if you were raised in a religious home, you'll identify with this post. The term self love was always linked to egotism or someone who thinks of themselves higher than they ought to, better than others. But as I got older, I began to have problems with, or recognize my problems with, insecurities and jealousies. And in my search for answers, I read a book, and in that book, the author said that if you were to boil down what's underneath, what's the cause of people's problems, most of their problems, even physical problems, you're going to come up with what is a lack of self-love. So I began to observe myself to see if that was true of me. And it was during that season of life, somebody told me, Renee, I want you to go home and look yourself in the eyes in the mirror and say, I am a queen. And that was kind of a version of saying, I love you, or I am worthy, I am valuable. And so I went home and I stood in front of the mirror, looked myself in the eye, and I couldn't say even one of those. In fact, I hung my head. And so it was at that moment I realized how deep my lack of self-love was, and I got to work on that issue. And it took time, but as time went on, that shield that was over my heart, I began to recognize was my own lack of self-love. When people would give me love and appreciation, the thoughts that would go through my head at that time was, boy, do I have them fooled. If they only knew me, they wouldn't be saying that. But as I loved myself, as I saw myself through God's eyes, as I saw myself as a daughter of the King, valuable and worthy of every good desire that I have, that shield melted away. And in that moment, I could feel the love that others were giving to me. It was a stark difference. And I understand now that we think that we need other people to love us and other people to appreciate us. But what's under that deficit that we feel, that big void, is our own lack of self-love. I challenge you to look in the mirror and tell yourself, I love you. And if you cannot do it, start working on yourself, because as you dissolve that shield of lack of self-love, it is the answer to receiving all the love you desire.